Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Thursday, the 27th of February, 2020. Hey, gang, I'd like to report another victory here with the Second Amendment Preservation Act in the state of Missouri. We have now actually 84 co-sponsors. 84 co-sponsors on this bill. This is just amazing. In bringing up the latest ones was Patricia Pike and Nick Schroer. And this is just incredible, and once again, I cannot stress enough how important the grassroots movement is, and everything that you guys are doing with phone calls and emails, it is making a difference. Let's overwhelm them with support for this bill in every way. And of course, the witness forms are extremely important. We currently have 496 of these witness forms filled out. The link is down below in the description section, by the way, and I'll show you that in just a second. But real easy to fill out this form. Just put in your first, your middle, your last name, home address, city, state, zip, home phone number if you please, and click that you're for the bill. You don't have to put anything in organizational information unless you represent a larger group of people. Put in your testimony down here, and it could be anything like, please support my Second Amendment rights because you swore an oath to do so, to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States. Anything you like along those lines, obviously. Click on the digital signature, which is a requirement for the House form, which basically is I affirmed and attest to the best of my knowledge and information belief that my testimony presented to this committee is true and correct. That's all that means. Put in your email address. And by the way, I strongly recommend you put in your email address because Ron keeps people up to date. He is the proprietor of this database. He keeps it private, and he can update you when there's something new with this bill. So please put in your email address if you can. And then, of course, your date of birth is optional. Whether or not you want to share your email address or phone number with your representative is optional, too. And then just click on the green numbers and then click Submit. And that's all there is to it. Shouldn't take anything more than 4 or 5 minutes tops to fill out the whole thing and get it done. Those of you who have filled out the form, thank you. Thank you ever so much. To those of you who have filled out, please get a neighbor, a relative, a friend, or two to also fill out the bill. Please explain to them what the Second Amendment Preservation Act is. Honestly enough, I was talking to one of my neighbors the other day, and they had no idea what it was about. They had no clue about this. Well, that's because the mainstream media is not helping. In fact, they're maintaining a dead silence. It's very difficult to get information like this out if you don't have access to media. So we're using social media to get the word out. So please continue filling out witness forms. Please have your friends, your neighbors, your relatives all fill one out as well. This is very important. Let's get this number up. The more of these we have and the more support we show, the better. So, and by the way, hat off to Ron Calzone. For those of you who don't know, Ron Calzone does these witness forms, and he does it with his own time and his own money. And this is a service he provides to the residents of Missouri, and there is no charge. So, once again, hats off to Ron Calzone. Thank you very much for everything you do for the state of Missouri, sir. For the residents of Missouri, actually, because this guy does a lot more than just the witness forms. So that's the call to action in the House, gang. Let's get more of these witness forms out. Very, very important, and you have to be a resident of the state of Missouri to do this, by the way. Okay, call to action in the Senate is a little bit different because we're going to talk a little bit about PDMP. Remember I was talking in a video that I had done, I say it was about 3 weeks ago, and I talked about how the most insidious red flag bills get through and become laws is because they put little pieces of them inside different pieces of legislation, sometimes separated by years. And then once those pieces of legislation all get passed as law, they can take those components out of those individual pieces of legislation that became law and assemble a red flag law. Well, I believe the PDMP, or the Prescription Drug Monitoring Program, is one of those bills that actually is waiting for a second component. Here, I'd like to tell you the status of this. First of all, it's House Bill number 1693, and it has passed the House handily. I mean, it went right through. It sailed right through this year. And I'm going to show you some startling statistics on that in just a moment. But here's why we need to oppose this bill. First of all, this violates your Fourth Amendment, your right to privacy, because that means anything you do with prescription drugs will go into a nationwide database. And of course, with that database, any doctor anywhere in the United States can look up what drugs you're on, what prescription meds you're on. So that violates your Fourth Amendment right to begin with. And then, of course, we know that giant, massive databases never get hacked, right? So we have that issue as well. But also, too, if you take this bill, and then all you have to do is have another bill saying that people who are on, happy pills, or mood adjusting pills, you guys have to forgive me. I don't know much about prescription medications, but the ones that people take if they're depressed, antidepressants. Pardon me. Sorry about that tonight. But if someone's on antidepressants, they can't own a gun. Well, then they'll have all the information they need to identify these people and take away their guns with a nationwide database. So this is one of those bills that's insidious. It's working. It's the nose getting into the tent. The camel's nose is in the tent, gang. You got to push it back and push it back hard. PDMP, I'm proud to say, according to these articles that I have here, and I'm going to link, Missouri is the only state in the union that actually doesn't have a prescription drug monitoring program law. And I'm proud of that. I am absolutely proud of that as a Missourian. You know what that means? We have a state legislature that recognizes how intrusive this bill is and has kept it out of law. That's wonderful. That's beautiful, and thank you very much to all my senators in Missouri who keep pushing this thing back. But let me show you something a little more disturbing. Let's look at the actions of this bill. By the way, this is House Bill 1693. This was passed in the House and has been pushed up to the Senate. The Senate didn't have their version of the bill, so therefore the House bill now is the Senate bill, HB 1693. But look how much action this thing has seen so very quickly, and how quickly it went through the system, how many hearings it had, and how much activity there was. And now let's look at the co-sponsors of this bill. Once again, the Prescription Drug Medication Act. 7 co-sponsors. 7 co-sponsors. And this thing sails right through the House. So that's a problem. Let's take a look at ours again. Look at how many co-sponsors we have on this bill. 84. Never been seen before. Let's look at the actions on this bill. 4 actions. That's it. Now, the good news is that this bill is scheduled for a hearing on the 4th of March. That is literally next Thursday. That is exactly a week away. So we'll start getting some activity on it. But I just wanted to show you guys when I was talking earlier about how many co-sponsors these bills have. This one with 84 is unheard of. It's never happened before. We've made history. This one with 7 is pretty typical. That's about a typical bill in Missouri, is about 7 co-sponsors or less. So that's just to give you, basically a juxtaposition and a little bit more perspective. So this is, like I said, this is important. We need to get this done, and we need to keep putting pressure on these folks. So let's do the witness forms. Let's call up our senators and tell them to oppose, and that is House Bill 1693. Once again, I'll have everything linked down below, including phone numbers to all of your senators in Missouri. And let's tell them a big fat no. Do not vote for this bill, or vote no for this bill. We can't have this kind of stuff sneaking up on us. This is one of those obvious components of what will later become a red flag law. So we have to actually change the language of this bill so that the Fourth Amendment is respected and the Second Amendment can never be attacked with that. Okay. I want to show you guys one more thing because I've had several people actually go to my videos and say they can't find the links. And I'm going to show you, and by the way, this is very easily missed by a lot of people. So here is a video I put up, it looks like on the 22nd of February, so 5 days ago. And if you look here, this is the description section right below the video, but you have to click on Show More. See where that is right there? Show More, and then boom, all the links come to life. So that's when, I'm saying that everything is down below in the description section. That's where it's at. You just have to click on show more. And if you guys say, hey, listen, that's, we can't remember that or whatever, just shout out in the comment section. Just say, hey, would you just do a pinned comment with all your links? And I'll be very happy to provide that as well. So at any rate, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. But remember now, let's get those house forms filled out, please, everyone. Get one or two relatives and friends each that have already filled one out to get more of these done. The more we have, the more support we have, the more impressive it looks when it goes up for a hearing, and that's in 1 week. On the Senate side, we had about a month to get these forms done. On the House side, we'll have less than 2 weeks. So let's get these done as quickly as possible. And once again, let's call up our senators and tell them to oppose. In fact, let me get a bill number for you. House Bill 1693. I'll have all the links down below if you guys need that when you make your phone call. And I will have, once again, the list of senators down below in the description section so you can call your senators. Once again, this applies to the state of Missouri. Okay. Thank you very much for tuning in to Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. Guys, let's not let up on this. Those of you in Missouri, please help us out here. Let's get this done. The more support we have, the better. We're making progress. We're moving along, and it's tough to move bills like these. So, and this is revolutionary. I'm telling you, this is this is very different. This is nullification of any screwy restrictions or laws that the federal government wants to put on your Second Amendment rights will be stopped right at the border of Missouri. So that's how important this is. Let's keep the Second Amendment pure for your kids and your grandkids. So, as opposed to, waiting, and sitting back and doing nothing, before long, all we'll be able to own is shotguns and BB guns like, in Australia or something like that. Let's all try and make a difference for the future, because that's what this is about, is protecting the future. You guys all have a wonderful, wonderful day. May God bless you all.